see. I didn't want to have any chat popping up. I don't even know if anybody's still awake at this hour. I guess that's why I'm doing it now because I'm feeling chatty, and I thought I'd um, do a live and just chat about an epiphany I had about anger. I was talking to Quan on my Instagram. You know, I guess it's his birthday. He decided to hit me up as well to check in with me. I didn't realize it was his birthday. I feel a little bad about that. And the topic of anger had came up, and I had stated, anger doesn't change, the situation or other people and what they're going to do. It can only change you. And I was gonna go to sleep. I had came and made me some popcorn. I was gonna go lay down because Lucas is asleep. He's doing better about sleeping at night. He sleeps for longer stretches, which is great. But I still feel like I'm more tired, like because I'm up doing the things that I can't do when he's awake. And then during the day, I feel like my sleep is off, like I'm taking little naps myself. Um, so I think he'll be asleep long enough for me to sort these clean clothes, and probably in another hour he'll be, you know, fidgeting. I'll give him a bottle, and then he'll go right back to sleep. But I made me some popcorn, and I just was crying. I was just crying. uh, Layla came home on Tuesday, and sometime in the evening, I was holding Lucas, and I was in my room. Sometimes it feels like our room because the kids are always in there. So it is our room, but it's my room. And she said something to me that I already knew, because she had told me before that her father is getting married. And I mean, I'm not surprised by that. And he also had mentioned her as his fiance when we were at an appointment for Layla's evaluation for autism. I think in the fall or late summer this of last year. And so, but this time Layla, she said, Daddy and her getting married, but don't get very angry about it. And I didn't say anything. I usually don't say anything when she tells me things about, like, her dad's personal business with his person, because I don't know what to say. I just don't want to alienate Layla to make her feel like she can't talk to me, about her life, because she has many avenues to her life. She has her life here at home with me, and there at home with them. So I want her to feel comfortable to talk to me. And she'll still even tell me when she's farted. Oops, I farted. Or not oops, she'll be like, I farted. I farted again. And I'll be like, you little pooter farting in my car or wherever we're at, you know? Instead of being like, don't you be telling me every single time you poop. I don't want to hear every time you farted. And then, when you tell them stuff like that, they'll be like, well, Mom, you told me not to tell you. And you're like, yeah, they took you literally. So I didn't say anything at first. And oftentimes she'll be like, Mom, did you hear me? And I'd be like, yeah, I heard you. Because again, I don't know what to say. I don't want to put any of my feelings or my baggage on her because she's a child and she needs to stay in a child's place. Um, Grown up stuff, that's our ish. So what caught me was just when she said the angry part, because I stopped and that's when I was thinking, did I like, is there something she saw that I did that made her think that I would be angry by hearing something like that? And I also wondered, was there something that she heard in his household from someone that led her to say something like that, because that was the first time. That was the first time I ever heard that from her. And like I said, this is, I think, the second or third time she's told me about that, about her father getting married. And then I thought about what she said, don't get very angry about it. And I stopped and I was like, well, I already did get angry. Not so much about them getting married, but I mean, years ago when it all happened, I was angry. If I think too long on things, I feel that anger again, or upset really now. And I just was thinking, those emotions, the anger, it didn't change the outcome. It didn't stop what was happening. It didn't make my husband at the time stop and be like, you know what? Let me not do this. Let me not hurt her in this way. Or, it didn't change his mind or the course that he was on that led him to where he is now. So I just was like, there's no point to being angry. It's not going to change them. It's not going to change the situation. It's only going to disturb my peace, change the energy in this house, in front of, and how I act and behave in front of my children. And that's the most important thing. It's my kids is what keeps me grounded, what keeps me together. Just wanting to live to see them again, or wanting to live to, have memories and watch them grow. And that's what keeps me going forward. Because a lot of the times I care about myself, but not enough to like want to go on in some moments, especially when I do think back on it. And I think I was just thinking on it too long, and I started to cry because, it's not anger so much anymore unless I think about those moments of disrespect deeply. Like, and my sister always tells me, if you go down that street, pull back, pull out, turn around, don't stay in the cul-de-sac. Get out, get out of that dead end street of your thoughts, because you'll just descend down there, and sometimes it's darkness. You don't want to stay in that. But it's more so just a lot of sadness and me feeling real stupid, now that there's been some years distance between when it first began to unfold, at least for me in 2021. I'm assuming that he's been in relationship with her since 2020. Like, I have no idea how any of that started. But one thing I will say is, like, I have to go get Layla tomorrow from his home. And I detest very much having to go by his place to go get her. Granted, I'm glad that she's safe, and warm and, away from harm. But I can't stand seeing their home. And before I have to be honest, when I would look at the outside of what my ex-husband has with the woman he left with, it would be like a type of envy or feeling less than, and like, oh, look at that, they have that, and he could never achieve that with me. And I guess he was right to make the decision he did. He wouldn't have the life that he has now if he would have stayed with me. Pity parties. But now when I go by there, I feel stupid. And I feel low because it takes me back to that day. I believe I remember the date. It was February 4th. And he said something that triggered me to realize, I think there's another woman. And I went in there, and I didn't know it, but he was on the phone with her on our couch. And I guess he abruptly ended the conversation because I was trying to talk to him. And that's when I had asked him, and then he claimed that she was just a friend. And from that lie grew the foundation, and now there's a house and a marriage and kids and all that. So now when I see it, I just think, look at this house on the foundation of lies and deception that was fed to me by someone I trusted. And I'd be feeling stupid because I knew, but I trusted this person, and just there was, much more going on, of course, than what I was being told. And I guess I wish I could go back and save myself from a lot of it, and walked away from the disrespectful moments, because I think that's what holds me back in the present, and why I make poor decisions, or have made poor decisions in the last two Negroes that I have tried dating, because I always be like, why did it have to be so disrespectful? And it makes me feel really small still to this day. And I'm not innocent, of course. My sister, I learned from her that, we both meet at wrong. We do. But I'd be like, next time I'm gonna do better. Like, I'm not like that. Like, there's gonna be a next time. I don't want there to be. I mean, I've been disrespected even worse by a Negro since then. Luke's DNA provider is the epitome of disrespect and being unhinged. And I mean, he's straight up a danger. You'll never convince me otherwise. He's a danger. And I it's a prayer of mine every single day. I just be praying to God, just keep him away from us. I pray that every day, and I thank God every day that I don't see or hear from him. Like, thank you, God, for answering my prayer. I love my son, but I trusted the wrong person. Again. I'm really glad that I didn't let the anger then take over and run my life. You see stories in the news all the time. Here in Columbus, there was just a couple. They lived on 4th Street and 8th Avenue. And I passed by that so often, especially when I was doing food delivery. And I think their name was the Teppies. And this woman was married to this guy for a short time, shorter than my marriage, and divorced. She remarried, had 2 more kids, and this man was still not letting go and moving on. I don't know if you want to call that anger. I think is jealousy, envy, control mixed in with anger, but it got a hold of him to the point that he stalked. Family claimed he made threats, and then he took her away from her family, took her husband away, left in, and now the kids, they'll never know them. Not growing up. And then I remember the Betty Broderick story. It's not funny. It's not funny. I'm very glad I've never felt gotten to that point. And that, I'm really glad because that's, to sit there and behave in that manner, it's so selfish to other people, and especially yourself. Sometimes, people allow their emotions to take hold and rob them and blind them, in those moments from realizing that life goes on after those actions you're thinking about. You gotta show restraint, and you have to remember that people are supposed to come and go. I think we get so caught up in trying to capture people, and some people will be around for a while, but definitely I encourage that if it's not flowing, if if it's not hard in the sense of, oh, we're working to build or to evolve kind, but it's hard, like hands are being put on you, police are being called, not even by you. I've experienced, like, it's spilling out into the streets and other people are calling the police because they're seeing the dysfunction. If it's getting like that, then it's supposed to be let go of. It's not going to work. It's not supposed to work. There are some things that do stop working. You have to move on from it. And you know my my first marriage was one of those things. It's not, I didn't, of course, I didn't want it to end. I wanted to stay married like my parents did. My parents were married until my mother died, till death did them part. And that's what I grew up with. Uh, but it's not always in the cards for every relationship. I don't know that. I still say this. I don't want to get married again. I do not. Uh, I don't. To me, I'm like, I already had the experience of being married. Don't want to chance a divorce again. So I'm good on that. If anything, especially after having Lucas, I have decided to just take a break because it's just very clear that I am still not healthy enough for a healthy relationship. I don't feel like I can be healthy for a significant other. And I am also thinking that I'm attracting the wrong energy in partners because it seems like I am attracting low vibrational people who, and it's really like, really, I'm seeing narcissistic behavior where it's like they come in, they love bomb you, they're going hard, and I mean, you can't catch your breath kind of thing, and they're future faking, telling you all of these things that they will be and provide and do, and you share, what you've been through, and and you share it because you're trying to build trust and you want them to get to know you, and you're kind of also telling them how you want to be treated, that, look, I don't want to go through that again. But then when they're upset, they take what you've confided in them, and then they weaponize it against you to try to bring you down to their level so they can keep you. And I don't want to be kept. So I just want to continue to just be myself in my space with my family, and also understanding that having a man in my life or in my home, or with the kids, doesn't mean like we're more of a family. Again, I'm still thinking of how I was brought up, with my dad and my mom and my brother and I. And I am a family with Layla and with Lucas. Even before Lucas was born, Layla and I, we were a family. We've always been family, and that's enough. I always have to hype myself up and just remind myself I'm trying my best. I am a good mom. Um, I be telling myself that's my claim to fame, being a good mom. But then I remind myself I'm not just a mom. I'm Sabrina, or I'm a woman, or I'm this person in this consciousness. I'm not just a mom, but I am my own individual as well. That I need to make sure that I'm taking care of. Also, in the spirit of that, I went back and I reconnected with my counselor, uh, and I've been able to afford to go and meet and speak with her. I've been, you know, just trying to keep busy in positive ways. And then, as soon as you try to move forward and, take care of yourself, distractions come. Just not this Monday, but the Monday before last, I received a phone call from one of the individuals that I tried to date uh, while I was still going through divorce. And I did end up getting pregnant by him, but I didn't have the baby. And but he, I guess he changed his number and he reached out, and I answered and I was like, oh wow, like it's been a while, and he let me know that he wanted to put it in my life. He wanted to have relations with me, and I'm like, I don't know. I guess I was just like, again, sometimes I don't say nothing if I don't know. Like, I hate those moments because, like, I wish I just had a snappy comeback in that second, but then, like, you move away from the moment and then you're like, oh, I wish I would have said that. But I was like, I don't know when I won't have my kids. And then what I didn't say was, in my head, I'm like, so you expect me to ditch my son? Not, I would never ditch Lucas, and he would always be with his godparents if I, when I have things to do, and they're available to watch him. But I would not ditch my son to go spend time and energy with a man I would never want him to become. Like, that's really what I'd be thinking now. And then also, for me, I've set the boundary that if the relationship or the situation is not adding to my life or maintaining the balance that I have found or helping my children and I to grow, then I don't want to participate or invest in that. It's just really important, like, energy. Like, I believe in that, spirit, energy, whatever you want to call it. But if I'm not good, say I were to have gone over there and he's telling me that, oh, I, just suffered a loss and I just was thinking of who I could, give all this goodness to, and you were at the top of my list. That's literally what he said. Like, it was like oh my gosh, really? And so, but like, so you're suffering a loss. You want to, like, spread this energy. And what happens when I capture this energy? I have to come home and bring it back to my children, and I have to deal with it on my insides. That's just not healthy. Like, I have to, like, I've just really understand now. I really have to be mindful of who I'm connecting with and what I do, because, it affects my loved ones. So I got off the phone with him, and I text my best friend Jordan, and I was like, this dude just said he wanted to give me some dick. And Jordan was like, and Jordan said, no, don't go back, Sabrina. Jordan is a firm believer that exes are exes for a reason. And he said it's not worth it. And I know he's right. And so I was like, you know what? I need to be direct in what I'm about to say, because I don't want to mince words or leave any opening for you to think that you can call me again for relations. Because the Sabrina you knew 2 years ago has evolved into who she is now. And so I sent him a message and I said, while it's nice to know that you still think fondly enough of me to want to be intimate with me, I cannot be your sexual outlet. And I told him, you had stated, he said, bitch, you hurt me. That's what he said. And I can't stand it when they call me out my name. I don't even care if you're trying to make an emphasis. I don't like that. Like, my name is Sabrina. Like, that's something that with Lucas's DNA provider, was just consistently calling me the B word. I don't like that. Like, I just be wanting to pull out my phone and play Queen Latifah's Unity. U-N-I-T-Y. Who you calling a bitch? Like, no, I don't like. And I know that there are different ways, because like you could say bitch to your friend, like bitch, like, but it's not that kind. You know what I mean? It's not cute. So I said, well, Negro, you had me all the way fucked up. I would do anything and be anything to have time with you. I loved you and I wanted you at that time. And it's taken me 2 years to unravel from those emotions. I can't go back and I won't go back. The only man that can have access to me at this time in my life is God and my son. And I told him, do not call me for sex again. I cannot give you my body anymore. And I read it, I sent it, and I was just like, whoa. Because I tell you what, the me 2 years ago, I couldn't do it. For like, it was a stronghold in my life. It was real bad. I can't even like, he would call and I pull up. Like, and that's why he tried me like that. Jordan says they always miss it, when they can't have it no more. Or, they like to sniff around when they're bored and, trying to, bait you and see if you'll still go for the same things like back in the old days. And, nope. Not this, not this, not this, nope. And that's setting boundaries. And I, like, my best friend and I, China, I have two best friends, Jordan and China. And China, we were talking this evening because I was crying to her too. Because I was just expressing her like I am on this live. Like, it's not anger. It's just more so I feel like I'm still trying to piece myself back together. And then I get involved with these individuals and then it kind of breaks again. And then I'm like, okay, trying to still put the pieces together. And I guess I will say that I long to look and feel as put together as my ex-husband does on the outside. Like, I will say he's moved to me. I know that we all have inner turmoil or inner thoughts, but I always used to say that he just looks so calm, cool, and collected on the outside, and that I wish I could have his calm demeanor and confidence. I even wrote about it. I still have that writing. I wrote that while we were still together. I did share it with him, and he was like, "Really?" And I was like, "Yeah." But like, I always, on the outside, he just looks so, confident and, put together and, sturdy. But I do know that we all have our innerness. And I think I hear my young one. But that means I'm going to wrap this up and just say that healing is different for everyone. So I'm being patient with myself, and I'm thankful to my best friends who are patient with me. They don't say, oh, it's been 5 years. You're still, processing that. You're still dealing with that. You're still thinking about that. They let me talk and they let me feel what I need to feel. Find you some people like that in your life. It's going to take time. And I'm just so thankful that I didn't let anger keep me from this moment right now, where I get to go in that room and love on that 4-month-old baby and nurture him and have the best life that I could provide for him, his sister, and I. Again, I just want to reiterate, anger doesn't change them, whoever your them is, or the reality of the situation that you are currently facing. But don't let it change you. Okay? Remember that there is life on the other side of your emotions, whatever you're feeling. It's temporary, and just push through it in a positive way.